We're go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Parks Board meeting, Advisory Board meeting here on May 12th, 2022. We do not have a quorum, so we're just going to go ahead and we can't approve minutes, so really no reason to do much other than updates. So I'm going to let Mike go ahead and take this. Sir?
All right, thanks, Stuart. So real quick, mountain parks update for the mountain on the Trail Center, or the Nordic Lodge as a lot of people call it. Amundsen Associates is the architect on contract to design that new lodge. County staff met with Amundsen Associates for a kickoff meeting on April 28th. We discussed a lot of input into what the concept needs to carry. So they're now preparing that initial concept, and then we'll meet again and review that. Once we clearly define what the county wants in a building concept, and then we'll start to schedule some public input after the county constraints have been defined. So we're doing this approach to basically try to keep it within budget and get the county requirements, and then get the public input on possibly facade, what needs to be in the interior, but the basis of the building will be specified by the county so that we're not going through this lengthy interim process and trying to fit everybody's wish list in there. It's more going to be, this is what the county can do. Now, how can we add a few frills here and there for the public?
So has the input from our previous meetings been given to them at all?
So yeah, they have the previous design from State Line. They have MOA's discussion with they have that input. They have a survey done by WLC, a topographic survey done, so they have some of that data. They have the septic system as built. So some of the constraints that are just fixed are going to be capacity to limit. We do not want any fire suppression. And the septic, the current septic, if you reach a certain capacity, then you have to go with a UIC, an underground injection control system, which is expensive. And so we're designing around those parameters to avoid those things. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's really in the early stages right now. I don't have even a footprint of what it's going to be like. Hopefully in a month we'll have a little better footprint.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the Vehicular Wayfinding sign program for the mountain, those bids were scheduled to be turned in Tuesday, but there was an addendum, so we extended it to today. I received 3 bids on that. I am having our consultant RDG review those, and I'm hopefully, if I get their response back, Parks will try to present it to the commissioners at the work session Tuesday so that they can review the bids and we can come to a decision on which bid to go with, or not go with. That's really kind of up to the higher ups there. So.
Okay, have you looked at them yet?
Yeah, I've looked at them. They range anywhere from $67,000 to $222,000.
That's a big range.
Yep. RDG has concern with one. They just want to make sure that they're qualified, so they're reaching out to that bidder to get a little bit more information on projects they've done in the past and whatnot.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Bear Trap Shelters, Enberg Miller's prepared a draft of a custom design for the shelters. At that point, back on April 5th, I was directed by the commissioners at a work session to finish and prepare and have them prepare an engineer's cost estimate. I did receive that. I forwarded that to the commission, and at this point, that design is on hold until a discussion about design standards are presented at at Tuesday's work session. I do not know what the design standards discussion is. That's all I've heard, so.
So they're not going to look at any of the existing shelters we are using right now across the county?
So we discussed looking at the kits and, because we're budget conscious, but, let's see, how do I put it best? I think the majority of folks think they're kind of ugly. So, that's where this custom, Inberg Miller started doing a custom design with some rock veneer panels and, some other things, and with rock wrapped around the concrete pillars that support the posts, dress it up a little bit. And so that's what's in the most current design. So, and I did not bring that. I haven't sent it to the Parks Board yet because I wanted to kind of get a little further down the road with the commission and make sure this is a path we want to go before we start putting out designs that may or may not be accepted. So hopefully Tuesday, sometime next week, maybe I'll have a better feel of where that's going.
Do you know if they're going to discuss that Tuesday night?
I do not.
Okay.
And I have not seen the work session agenda, so I do not know what's on the work session agenda.
Thank you.
Bear Trap Festival is scheduled August 4th through August 7th. Their short-term lease has been signed for the event. I attended I guess you'd call it kickoff meeting of their plans. They're basically like last year. A few things we discussed is they had a little train behind a four-wheeler that went through the meadow. That's not going to happen, but they'll still have the bouncy houses and the axe throwing and the food vendors and all that. So with that, our reservation system has kind of had a few hiccups, but we've gone through it, and I think we've got everything booked up for the festival. So,
Fantastic.
Crimson Dawn, there's not really any update at this time. I spoke with the county attorney on that. He is working through an MOU draft, but I'm not sure. I think it may have been sidelined by a few other projects, so I don't, he doesn't have anything to provide at this time, but it is in the works, so we have been discussing it to try and get that prepared.
Doug, you got any updates on that at all?
Yes, the subcommittee breakout was, I think it went very well.
Microphone.
Yeah, the subcommittee breakout we had with the Crimson Dawn Association and two members of the family and park staff and myself and Eric, well, I think that went very well. We got a better understanding of what we think all the parties might be looking for, and Eric had said he thinks he had a good place to start for a draft. So he's just working on drafting up all those ideas into a document that we can then review again as a group.
Perfect. Thank you. Pathfinder Alcova.
All right, so the Pathfinder campground improvements, WWC Engineering has been working on that. Parks Department met with them, reviewing concept layout that they have. I believe they have most of their data. They had information on an improved boat dock system, and we discussed a few things that we'd like to see in the concept that weren't, possibly a couple of group camping areas at Sage Campground, I think it is, and we're just waiting to receive that final concept and review it one more time, and then present that to the Board of County Commissioners to review a little bit before we start getting some public comment on it. So that project's progressing quite well, actually, so I think we're on a good line on that.
I know I'd sure like to review that too.
Yeah.
Been in the master plan and all, so.
Yeah, and
Love to see
it's actually, they've got additional boat parking laid out, they've got increased number of campsites at Diabase. There's some tent camping at Weiss and Sage with single vehicular access, so the master plan or resource management plan had it to where you had to hike in with all your stuff to the tent site. And so that's been kind of revised a little bit, so.
Good, thank you.
The camping reservation system, it's up and running, had some minimal issues with it. We have a few issues that we're dealing with right now, and so there's been some manual entry into like bear trap campground things, and we're trying to correct a few things. It was opened up a little early for camping on the mountain, so there's some reservations that we had to kind of work through because right now in places there's still 3 feet of snow in bear trap.
Yeah.
So, trying to get into that campsite. Our maintenance guys are working on clearing the campsites that have reservations so that Memorial Day weekend they could be in there, but it's probably gonna be pretty muddy and still snow covered, so.
That's typical.
So we're reviewing as to when we should actually open the mountain for camping. Memorial Day's still pretty early, but I know a lot of people still want to get up there, so it's kind of a balancing act there.
Okay. Did you get numbers by chance?
I have the numbers that I emailed you last month, and these are kind of skewed a little bit, because in previous years, full hookups were reserved through our office, and that we don't really have a good database of that information. So in 2019, what was collected via envelopes dropped off at the kiosks, first come, first served, was $127,207. In 2020, which is a skewed year because it was COVID, and both these years do not include the full hookups, what we collected there, was $176,091. And then 2020, where we implemented the reservation system,
2021?
2021, we implemented the reservation system. What we collected at first come, first served via envelopes was $108,052. And then the reservation system, which did include the full hookups, was $129,140 for a total of $237,192 collected in 2021.
That is fantastic.
So,
That's fantastic.
we're being used. So,
Well, and we're paying for that system. I know there's a lot of folks who thought that we put a lot of money into that system and it wasn't paying, and it's not true.
yeah, so, and I think really, we had it down for a while with maintenance early in the year, and so, there was kind of a delay on getting it kicked off, but we've had really minimal calls, not like last year. Our call log's down.
Good.
I don't have a good number to base that off of, but just talking with the gals in the office, it's a lot less. Until we have we had a few hiccups with the mountain, but they managed that pretty well, so.
Good. Well, it's also that your employees aren't carrying around that kind of cash.
Yeah, so we are having to provide some cash to the caretakers right now because last year a camp spot was $10. And this year we had to collect sales tax and lodging tax, so we raised it to $12. And so a lot of people that have $15 want their $3 or whatnot. So we're working through that, but we're limiting how much cash they have on hand. It's basically enough to make change for a few folks.
Yeah, still 108,000 in cash from the envelopes last year.
Over the
That's-
year, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a bunch. Well, that's great information. Thank you for preparing
Yeah.
that. I really appreciate it.
And is there still, are you still exploring shifting to the other online platform, or has that been tabled?
That's on hold right now. We're still have a contract with them, but we've talked with them and need to have a few more conversations with them, but basically that's been paused till the fall. so that we can get through this season, get it fully developed correctly without a lot of rush, and get that going and understand it a little bit more to make sure it's gonna work for us. So, but they've been very amenable to putting it on pause and working with us. They, you know, they see it as a two-way road. Let's get this to work for you. So they're working on some software updates that will improve what the user can do, versus us having to do it all via phone log, cancellations, site change, reservation changes. All of those right now in that system have to be done by our personnel. And so if somebody is there on a Saturday and needs to make a reservation change, they're not gonna get a hold of anybody because we don't have the staff for it. So, yeah, so we're working through that, and they're trying to get us a timeline on when they will have the software update that can handle that.
Now, do you have staff on Fridays?
We do,
Yes,
Monday
that's
through
on-
Friday,
Okay,
7:30 to 5. So,
perfect, thank you.
the last item is the private exclusive use permits out at Alcova and Pathfinder. These are the cabins, the trailers, the clubs, the marinas. We sent out invoices. They're all due May 19th. The Bureau Rec requested a lot inventory be filled out by each permittee. I'm getting a bunch of those in. Those are due by June 10th. And construction applications are being processed, and currently I have 10 applications pending right now, versus last year at this time, I probably had 50. So we're managing them a lot better, they're processing better, but there's still delays on some of them. And we're probably, if I could estimate, we're probably 60, maybe 70% paid on those leases right now. So and we're gonna send out additional invoices after the 19th if they haven't paid their money, and start making phone calls. So, it's a significant chunk of change. It's, I think, I don't know the exact number, but it's over $700,000.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's how we operate at the lake.
How are we doing with those decrepit trailers?
That's still in the county attorney's. I thinking Charmaine is beginning work on those. I think Eric delegated to her, and I'm supposed to check in with her next week on that.
We got one or two of them out there.
I
that are
believe
paid.
there's actually 3.
3,
Yeah. So,
okay.
but I provided the county attorney's office all the information I had, any phone numbers, any history of sales, whether they're late on their property taxes on those things, that kind of stuff. So hopefully they'll be able to maybe investigate a little bit further and get a hold of those people, or just provide us some kind of documentation that we can remove those. Since they've
Or
sat there.
destroy them, yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably have to be destroyed in place and hauled off. And then those vacant lots will go into the lottery system, and we'll draw names for those.
How did the lottery go?
I think we have 40 or 50 people. Right now, it's on hold. Nobody can put their trailers up for sale from February to May 19th.
Okay,
I'm not sure what the history on that process is, but I know there will be one trailer up for sale after May 19th.
and you're
But-
40 or 50 people looking?
Yep. So,
So it's pretty important to get those 3 back in there.
yeah, there's always a lot of people for the trailers. And we've had folks approach us about, well, if I demolish that trailer, can I have the lot? And it's like, no, we have to do, it's pure lottery process.
No.
You don't get any benefit for doing that. So if you want the trailer and want to haul it off, we can talk about that, but that does not give you any advantage to having that lot. So,
Anything to get to the lake, I get it. Yeah, I mean, that campground, I know there's discussion in the last meetings, actually, I think that was a work session about the water and the sewer and electric, and that place was actually made for pull-throughs. I mean, it was overnight camping basically, and so all that utilities go underneath every trailer, not down the
Yeah.
street and in. And we're lucky to be able to even pull this off. The BOR did not want this. So thank you for doing the lottery. That's really why we have it, so we can keep those trailers there.
And that's all I have.
Doug, you got any questions for him?
No, thank you, Michael.
I think I've asked all mine. Nothing? Okay. Okay. Do you want to step up the microphone and talk about any updates or anything, or you good? Okay. Well, since it's not a formal meeting, there's really no reason to go through, well, we have no public, so we really have no board comments. I don't believe you have anything you want to say. I don't either. Other than, Michael, we really appreciate what you've been doing. It's been over a year now. You have learned a ton, and it's going to be an interesting second big year for you.
Well, I appreciate it. I think we're making progress. I think some projects are going to come to fruition. I know a lot of them have been delayed, and I think we're making progress and going to get something done for sure, so.
Looking forward to it.
Yep.